Welcome everyone to Booth 31 Gaming, established 984 AD, the internet's original streaming channel. Okay, let's get rid of that feedback. There we go. That's better. It's Mystery Monday with Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. Going to go back to the Kew Gardens drama here, which I royally screwed up the other night when I tried to play. Going to start this completely over. Yes, I want to replay. Missed a lot of the clues and just totally did not have things going right after about 3 hours of streaming this, so going to give this a second shot from the top.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
That does seem like such a drug addict thing to do. Bring bees in the house so we can have honey all year round. Just let them swarm everywhere. No reason to open the casebook up yet. We have no information so far. Actually, there might be. There's just this page. An unusual theft has taken place at the Royal Botanical Gardens, Kew. Holmes' investigation reveals a somber trail of deceit. Find the stolen plants from the last exhibit at Kew Gardens. Basically just an overview of what we're doing.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
What are we doing, Holmes?
Let us find someone who could help us.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favor for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plant.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack, just like that, so suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
What should we do next, Holmes? Do not touch.
The plants were here. All of them was stolen.
Do not touch.
Here is a list of the stolen...
Okay, that's the list of the stolen plants. That will be useful for later.
These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes, the bayou.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. Blood. This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash, most likely a head wound.
Something to use our Sherlock eye on. Still more. The footprints.
These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The traces are thinner in some places. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
Still more for the Sherlock eye.
This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced. The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed.
What else is there for Sherlock to find here? Probably in the other room. Oh, right there, okay.
The esconson was breached near the handle. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all.
So we use Sherlock Holmes. Oop, wrong one. The F, not the IF. Now Q to watch the whole sequence.
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident? I wonder. I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. Very strange. Half of the Colonial Collection is absent.
Now our Sherlock eye.
These windows were perfectly cleaned. The smell is strong. It is a detergent. This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned.
Okay, let's make a deduction here. Emptied Colonial Collection. Someone cleaned and emptied out only part of the Colonial Collection. This is suspicious. Perhaps it was intended to conceal certain evidence. Dunn was trapped. Montague Dunn was trapped in the Colonial Collection room. He forced the door and died in the Water Lily Gardens. So we connect those two. Perform autopsy. Perform an autopsy on Montague Dunn. The death is suspicious. Why had he forced the door of the Colonial Collection room? Why had someone cleaned and emptied the room? Was it a trap or a simple accident?
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
So I suppose we'll go to Scotland. Go ahead and go to Scotland Yard. We won't finish up here at the gardens. We'll just move on to there, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're back at Scotland Yard now.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then. It's ready for autopsy then.
A very good day to you, my friend. Is Inspector Lestrade in?
I'm sorry, sir, but the inspector's absent at the moment. Mr. Holmes?
I'm hoping that for the last case, or maybe later in this one. I don't think later in this one, but maybe the last case, he's going to be gone, and you can go upstairs. But we'll see. Go to the evidence room here.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make. This watch is of great value. A membership card for the London Crest Club.
To Mr. F. Wayne, Director of Wayne & Sons Printing Company. My friend, your posters for the great exhibition at Kew Gardens are very beautiful, but it is surely unnecessary to mention all of the staff. My name alone will be sufficient. Bit egotistical. Okay, that's all the evidence. That's all of his personal effects. Let's go to the morgue and perform an autopsy.
First of all, let us carry out an external examination. There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination so that we can proceed with the autopsy. no redness, stings, or bruises. Nothing suspicious here. There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. The air from the lungs carries a faint aroma. Now, let us examine the internal organs. The lungs are congested and edematous.
Ooh, look at that.
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant. The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs. The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs.
Okay, there's got to be something more here.
There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
And now the liver.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction. The liver is enlarged. The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
We're done here.
The suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No, a few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little. Locked. Locked.
So back to Kew Gardens it is. Open deductions. Poisoning. Montague Dunn was inhaled a virulent vegetal poison that was intended to kill him. Montague Dunn was trapped in the Colonial Collection Room. He forced the door and died in the water lily greenhouse. Connect to those two. Dunn was poisoned. After being trapped in the Colonial Collection Room by the killer, Montague Dunn was affected by inhaling a virulent vegetal poison. So those are that's our deductive reasoning for now. We need to find the plants that were stolen. We need to find the plant that was used to kill Mr. Dunn. Inspect the staff buildings and gather information on Mr. Dunn. And find out who killed Mr. Montague Dunn. Myopic, inexpensive glasses. A dirty collar. Unmarried. And gardener's hands.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the Colonial Collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, oh, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Locked. Locked. Locked.
Okay, but I think I'm gonna go this one instead. I want to go into this glass house here, and I believe this is where I can talk to Albert Dunn, the victim's son.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only. For I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
She is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honor of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. We have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone, dismissively, with indifference.
Let's take her character portrait now. And to do that first, and I forgot to. Red eyes, webbed recently, consumed by grief. Father died, it's pretty natural. Shaving cut. Clean hands. Not exactly the hands of a gardener.
Thank you, young man. We shall see.
Excuse me, but I have...
Farmhouse.
got some Advil for this headache I'm getting and a little Bang energy drink to give me a little pick-me-up. Okay, so I've seen every... Oh, okay, here.
A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools.
Maybe slow down our movement here. Take a slower walk through here, make sure I don't miss any clues. Take a slower walk through here, make sure I don't miss any clues on either side. Don't think there was anything in here though.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Okay, this is where we were before. This is where the plants were stolen and where Mr. Dunn died. I think I got all the clues out of here. Ventilation grid. Something.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
What should we do next, Holmes?
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Dry tropics.
I don't recall anything going on in here. Oh, there there was.
These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Similar in the flower pots found at Kew Gardens. The pots did not belong there. We have the keys to everything except the cloakroom. Still got that chip, that chipped piece of marble we gotta find the source of. Gotta search my archives at Baker Street for information on those plants. And we have a new objective to meet Miss Margaret White.
Dry tropics.
back
There
to
is a
that.
smell of
Nope.
burning.
Guess I need to do that first. Sherlock eye. Probably only related to the fire over there, but just want to walk around and make sure. Broken pot with a different symbol on
The
it again.
symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
And not the same as the...
remains of a picture frame. The remains of a picture frame. A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. A broom handle was half burned.
Still more here.
A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Somebody threw the old broken door handle into the fire here. That clearly seems to be being used to cover up something. Where's the... What am I missing here? Door handle.
The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned.
Maybe it's the plants that are missing from the Colonial Collection. I think I just clicked back on that by mistake. Yeah, that's the magnifying glass is green, so there's nothing else to discover there. Lawnmower.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
I guess we'll go down and talk to her then.
Nursery. Seed house.
Okay, this is where we need to be.
Open.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Do our character portrait first. More inexpensive perfume. Sign she comes from a poor family. And she is unmarried.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Just forgot a bunch of plants got stolen from your job?
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss. After the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh, yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
from here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. It's a college study. They belong to Albert. Talk about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants. These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office.
So, from Robert's office, there was no view of the interior of the colonial house where his father died.
Poor Mr. Montague Dunn. It is so awful.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. A ventilation system.
So we go for there.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Elementary, my dear Watson. We go back to Baker Street and we eat hot chip and lye. Eat hot chip and lye, Watson. Eat hot chip and lye.
Director's office, cloakroom, and laboratory. Nursery. Seed house. Ventilation system. Dry tropics. Water lily greenhouse. Nursery. Palm house. Reserve. Water lily greenhouse. Colonial collection.
Most of the time, when you've turned all those magnifying glasses green on everything,
A map of Kew Gardens.
that was it. Okay, just I knew it should have exited me out automatically. Just had to find the right place to do it at. Nursery. Okay.
The seeds of plant species are stored here. The seeds of plant species are stored here. The seeds of plant species are stored here. The seeds of plant
Some gold came in, so we need to go out this way. Get out of my way, Watson. A bust.
It is a bust of Montague Dunn. I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place. Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common.
Very good. We know where that piece came from. It's partially open, but there's nothing of note. Exhibition of rare and exotic plant, Kew Gardens. Kew Gardens.
A thesis written by Martin Hamish. A glasses case. It is empty. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office.
So Hamish works from this desk.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
You open the window, you can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room, where the deceased died.
We can see the interior.
Maybe seen he was there, so know when to take the actions to kill him. Possibly.
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing, but it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition.
So maybe Hamish was the real brains of the operation. Sure I'm not missing anything anywhere. Not seem to be.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Watson throwing a little shade.
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory. I don't hear anything.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
That's going to be important.
I don't hear anything.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and has a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
So he's saying the same field of work that Hamish was doing. There's more here to this.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments
Study report.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
Now that's complete. Sherlock eye going on here. Laboratory table.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
So we will need to get Toby in a little while.
A botany book. This student's book belongs to Albert. The employee's cloakroom.
We'll get to the cloakroom in a moment.
It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here. Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Same thing we do every night, Watson. Try and take over the
Locked.
world.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
One of these little puzzles. There we go. Simple enough.
Open. Miss White's locker. These jewels must be worth a small fortune. A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
Certainly doesn't match with her coming from a poor family, as our character portrait indicated. Margaret. We were surprised to receive your letter. How could you think to ask us for money? After all these years have passed since you left, and without any thought of us. You have never shared with us any detail of your success at the university, but you choose to do so now. We suppose you must be ashamed of us, for we are not from the same high class as your new friends. Yes, we are modest people, but you should learn to put your family first, as we at home have always done, and none of us ever compromise their reputation, as it appears you have already with your employer, Mr. Dunn. No, Margaret, it is you who makes us feel ashamed. Your parents. Miss Margaret White is a beautiful young lady who appears moderately wealthy. Nevertheless, her hands can be seen to be marked with tiny brown dots. These were caused by pellagra, a condition that emerges after a prolonged period of malnutrition. They reveal that her childhood was a poor and unhappy one. However, the signs of wealth that we now see clearly indicate a significant change in her life. Albert Dunn is a nervous and anxious young man, clearly evident by his bitten fingernails. He uses a quantity of detergent with which to clean his hands, which is a poor decision as he handles plants and soil. His eyes are red. He has been weeping very recently. His age tells us that he is still at university. He is good-looking, unmarried, and probably still lives with his mother. Martin Hamish is unmarried. His hands and nails resemble those of a gardener. They are dirty and swollen. He is short-sighted, wearing bifocals to correct his vision. He is very plain. He works hard to the point of neglecting his appearance, and it is sadly unlikely that he has any female companion. He lives alone. Symbol on the broken pot. So the fire, that's the symbol we found in the glass houses. Use Toby to track a strange scent in the laboratory. That's our new one. We'll get to that momentarily.
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student. Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
Master's degree in
Apparently, Miss White is a
chemistry.
capable. A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Dear Mother and Father, I am writing this letter with reluctance to ask for your help. My studies and my housing costs have proven to be more expensive than I had anticipated. I fear, therefore, that I may not be able to manage in the long term. I know that we have had our disagreements in the past, but would you be so heartless as to allow your daughter to fail her studies for lack of money? Margaret. She's already got her diploma. She certainly has the jewelry to pawn to be able to get along. Is that everything? Letter. Dear Margaret, I know how your financial troubles are overwhelming you at the present time. Please let me assure you that I could not permit you to remain in such a dilemma. I was born of a wealthy family. I would consider it an honor if you might accept my help. Your devoted servant, Albert. Albert has a little crush, it would seem. Our next locker, Mr. Hamish.
Martin Hamish's locker. Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
Mr. Secretary. Recent events unfolding at Kew Gardens obliged me to renew my application for the management position. As I have stated already in my previous letters, I believe that no one is better suited for the post. While Mr. Montague Dunn was alive, I understood your reservation to my suggestion. Your reasons were political, and so I was happy to comply. But now that Kew Gardens lies in disorder, how can I stand by and allow it? How can I leave them in the hands of an inexperienced people with no motivation? I must urge you to cast your decision off as a matter of urgency, so that I may devote myself entirely to the noble task ahead and free my mind from this uncertainty. Apparently making a play to be the new
A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces.
letter. Sounds like Mr. Hamish was trying to get himself appointed director of the garden.
Father and I, Kew Gardens.
Picture of himself and his father at the gardens when he was young.
Albert's locker.
Albert's locker. Let's see here. Top hat and some books. Nothing to examine here.
Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea. A rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Royal Navy School of NCOA's best recruitment center in London. Sir, it is my regret to inform you that despite your excellent results within our entry examinations, we are unable to invite you into the Royal Navy School. Your father, Mr. Montague Dunn, has expressed his intention to entrust to you the directorship of the Royal Botanical Gardens in Kew, and it is clear that he would not release you for an entire year of naval training. Please accept all our best wishes for your future at Kew Gardens. Very faithfully, yours very faithfully, J.M. Lemarchand, Director of the Royal Navy Training Center. Let me look something up real quick. I wonder if that by chance was a real person who was in charge of the Royal Navy Training Center. C-H-A-N-D. Only doing a quick search, but nothing stands out here. And now the Sherlock eye. Ah, there's something.
A picture of Miss White and Albert in front of the University of London.
And they seem to get along.
Very interesting. Let's find everything we need to find in here. Portrait of Mr. Dunn, probably from a few years prior.
French wine, a remarkable vintage. Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
New plant species. The Kew Gardens team are pleased to announce the successful production of a new variety of barley, one that retains a completely resistant to the cold. They have named it the Siberian barley. Mr. Martin Hamish, the proud cultivator of the Graph, will hold a press conference next Monday morning upon this very subject. Letter. My dearest Margaret, following our last conversation, I believe it might be better if you vacate your position here at Kew Gardens. As you pointed out quite bluntly, you are no longer in need of my support. You are quite able to stand up for yourself in this world, as you say. Well, I give you back your freedom and wish you nothing but good luck. Robert Dunn hoped to rejoin the Navy, but was rejected. Description of Martin Hamish's photograph, Father and I, Kew Gardens. So we'll see here. Okay. Here's a photograph.
A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Oh, I didn't catch that the first time. That was apparently I was thinking that was Martin Hamish with Montague Dunn, but that was Hamish's father.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Eat hot chip and lie, Watson. Eat hot chip and lie. Oh. Let's see here. I'm going to have to look this up. I'll look it up on my phone. That would be better. There is a code here to do this, and it's going to be sitting here just trial and error, and it is not going to be fun. Okay, here we go. Left twice, right 4 times, back to the left 7 times, 6, 7, 10 times right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 times left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. A letter. My dear friend, please allow me to express my disappointment upon reading your last letter. I am paying you to defend me, not accuse me. Kew Gardens is a royal institution. We are granted the great opportunity to travel the world and save the most extraordinary, precious, and rare species of plant. Our duty is to protect such species, and from those who might wish to use them for dubious purposes. This divine syndicate of whom you speak have no right to hold such precious plants. Remember the case of June 14th, 1889. So I must respectfully ask you once again to notarize the permission on these plants on behalf of Kew Gardens. The documents were sent to you on Monday. P.S. See you in Boodles on Tuesday as always. Strongly worded letter, and then a very cordial. Oh, see you at Boodles on Tuesday, whatever Boodles is. You know, like see you at the gym or see you at the club. Oops, I think there was more in there than that. Letter of complaint. Mr. Dunn, we must ask you for the last time for the return of our dear sisters. You do not have any right to hold them imprisoned. They do not belong to you. Your so-called permissions are wholly false. You are hiding behind lies. The lie we do not need to elaborate that was reported in the press as the case of June 14th, 1889. What you have done is quite abhorrent. Be very sure that we shall never abandon our family members. We trusted you and regret having done so. The Divine Syndicate. It's taking me out of the save. This will be the last letter here.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Debt of Miss Margaret White to Mr. Montague Dunn. Rental of a suite of rooms at Oxford Street. An educational scholarship at London University. Credit opened at Hamilton. Redigan House Tailors and at Baird Jewelry, Baird & Sons Luxury Jewelers. Search Archives. A member of the Divine Syndicate pressed a complaint against Kew Gardens and mentioned an old case that has been published in the newspapers as the case of June 14th, 1889. Albert Dunn hoped to join the work. Yeah, saw that. Okay. Okay, apparently that was all for that. Let's look at our deductions now. Albert's ambition. Albert, after the death of his father, Albert now feels a responsibility to manage Kew Gardens. White and Dunn. The money that Montague Dunn regularly gave to Miss White far exceeded the needs of a student. White studies. Miss Margaret White studies biology at the London University. She enjoys the work and has a talent for it. Her specialization is exotic plants. Miss White's family. Miss White's family refused to assist her financially with her studies. They disliked Montague Dunn, believing him to be a libertine. Albert Dunn has promised to continue his family's support. Poisoning. Montague Dunn inhaled a virulent vegetal poison that was intended to kill him. White's expulsion. Montague Dunn wanted to fire Miss White. Okay, let's see here. Put those two together. Miss White and Mr. Dunn had a recent disagreement. Montague Dunn was planning to release Miss White from her position at Kew Gardens. Situation. Margaret White's studies and social situation were completely dependent on Montague Dunn's wealth. Nope. Okay, nothing else to put together there. Let's go get Toby now. Baker Street for Toby, the best bloodhound in the British Empire. Holmes reading Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Coincidentally, name of this game: Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments.
This is where I keep my post. This is where I keep my post. That is not the one I need. 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 That is not. That is not the one. That is not the one I need. That is not
Really?
the one I need.
Maybe we're working on research. We're working on something else now. Stolen plant. We're working on the stolen plant list. Okay. These plants have certain toxicity in common, more or less variable. Only the first three can be dangerous to humans. Florum diabolica, right there. But only under very specific conditions. The plant should react to a process of aggression, against which it issues deadly spores.
Here it is.
There should be more to research here. Now, the symbol on the broken pot. Let's go to research. Marks and symbols of the Divine Syndicate. Members of this syndicate worship Traywan, the God King. They strive to obtain spiritual peace and release themselves from the material world, so generous donations are appreciated.
Here it is. The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here.
Okay. Now our next search will be the supplier here. Garden suppliers. Seymour's Garden. Garden equipment and supplies. We are the premium supplier for all your landscape, gardening, and timber requirements. Full range supply and delivery of sands, soils, mulches, pots, and anything else you may need. Number 3, Blurton Road, London. I'm just curious about that address. See if there is such an address. Apparently there is. All these years, and I still tried to type in maps.yahoo.com instead of Google. Yahoo Maps hasn't been a thing in a very long time. It's just a row of houses.
Here it is.
Now, in the case of June 14th, 1889, I'll need to keeps going on. Okay, let's see here. We need to go to our newspapers. Scandal at the Divine Syndicate. This is probably it. The Divine Syndicate Club, followers of the God King Traywan, situated at 14 Governor Street, Carlton, Grosvenor Street, Carlton Road, protector of plants and more particularly trees, are currently the subject of an administrative investigation. The leaders of this organization are suspected of financial malfeasance. It may be that This investigation will lead to charges of judiciary. Meanwhile, many voices have risen high against this inspection, denouncing the state. In fact, this private organization, which is given as its goal the defense and protection of nature, and which incorporates many persons of influence, including political representatives of the opposition party. So first of all, is this Traywan a real? There's a Traywan Hall, a historic manor house in the parish of St. Here, let me share this. Capture source. A historic manor house in Cornwall, England. Jacobean style manor house. Some gardens, includes campsite grounds privately owned since 1960. Not generally open to the public, it holds annual open days as part of the National Garden Scheme. Nothing about Traywan being any sort of god, though. Imperial cult. Yep. God King. I'm not gonna deep dive this, but Traywan, United Kingdom spiritual events. Eventbrite. I have no idea. Okay, let's look at the address though real quick. What's the address of this place? 48 Grosvenor Street. Back. 28. There it is, Grosvenor Street, London, England. 20 is probably here. This side. Too far, that's 58. No, 27. Okay, 27. So this is the general area where that is. Okay, well that's interesting. Let's go back to the game now. No capture way. Back to our game.
Here it is.
Okay, we got that
And
research
here
done.
is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn. My archive. I can
That was all
always
the
consult
research.
with it if needed.
That was all the research we needed.
This is where I keep my post. A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
Someone should take Toby for a walk. Have you found something interesting?
My analysis table. It is useful for my work. Come on, Toby. We have some work. Let us go to Kew Gardens.
Back to Kew Gardens, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back.
Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance. Search, Toby. Search.
Toby's on the trail. Toby found us something.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found. This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here. There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes, a tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
Find the stolen plants, find the plant that killed Mr. Montague, find out who killed Mr. Montague, and find out what the Divine Syndicate is concealing. Information on deadly plants. Utilization of the toxic process is fairly difficult, for it requires a particular chemical fertilizer, natural stimulation, and nutrition. Caterpillars should work. The caterpillar should work. Okay. inquiries of people now. In fact, we definitely do.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? Not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. There's never been about anything else.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Okay, now let's talk to Hamish.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Odd that Montague Dunn was in such a fight with them, and neither Hamish or his son had heard of them.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. For Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. As far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Okay, let's make some deductive connections here. White studies. The new director. Martin Hamish is eager to become the new director of Kew Gardens. He believes he is deserving of the role and is hopeful of assuming the reputation his father once held there. Poisoning. Hamish's anger. Martin Hamish hated Montague Dunn, a man who he believed did little work but received all the praise for the success of Kew Gardens. We'll put those two together. Hamish's motive. Martin Hamish had a motive. He believed that he and his father's lives had been ruined by Dunn, who had taken credit for all their work. Hamish wished to take over the directorship of Kew Gardens, but he knew that would not be possible with Dunn still alive. Anything else to connect here? White studies Albert's humiliation with Albert's ambition. I forgot to read the card for Albert's ambition, but Albert had him, or for Albert's humiliation. Albert had a motive to kill his father. Montague Dunn had thwarted Albert's dream of joining the Royal Navy. By killing his father, Albert could have his revenge and eventually succeed his father's place as the director of Kew Gardens. Seems like his motivation would be to get away from Kew Gardens, though, by murdering his father. So I'm not really convinced. I lean at the moment more towards it being Hamish. Plans stolen, White studies Albert's ambition. Okay, so the plants, theft and murder. The killers may be those who stole the exotic plants, including the deadly species from the last exhibition at Kew Gardens. Okay, that's all we can do there for now, I believe. Let's go talk to Miss White now.
Nursery.
Back to talking to Margaret.
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Thank you, miss.
Poor Mr. Montague Dunn. It is so awful.
All that contention between Dunn and the Divine Syndicate, and he never told anyone what was going on? That seems odd. That seems sus. Somebody knows more than they're saying. So we go now to the Divine Syndicate.
If I go there, Toby will wait for me in the cab.
Seems okay. Take a look at the casebook real quick, see if there's anything we need to look at. Perform an analysis. Chemistry flask buried under the ground at Kew Gardens. You can do that, but there is some things we'll pick up at the Divine Syndicate. We'll need to go there first.
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us. Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock.
I am exalting the sap. Can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance, do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcome you are. To introduce myself, I am the Green Grand Mystic.
The Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
Let's do a character portrait first. Tattoo. Fingertip calluses. Chemical practice. Okay.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate. Glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom.
The vegetable
And
kingdom.
to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
We visited Kew Gardens, and we found your symbols on our flower pots.
Coincidence, I am thinking. They would scavenge our refuse. It would not surprise me.
It was merely an observation. Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
You don't actually say anything, okay? You just.
Green Grand...
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Okay, true on the God King.
Our God King's name is Treewan.
Treewan.
Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Follow my path, and better you will feel.
Sherlock Eye.
a fragment of a flower pot. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Very similar to the pots at the Kew Garden. And look at this.
The Kew Gardens symbol.
Kew Garden symbol on a flower pot found in the Divine Syndicate's garden. See if he has anything to say about that.
Do you have Fred?
None. Not worthy there.
No, that was not the right answer.
Do you have...
None. Not worthy there.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet, you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Follow my...
Divine Syndicate thieves. 3 days before Dunn died, the Divine Syndicate stole all of the plants from the Kew Garden exhibit, claiming that a number of these plants belonged to them. Missing deadly plants. The Green Grand Mystic told us that when they stole the plants from Kew Gardens, they were unable to locate 3. So the Divine Syndicate thieves combined with deadly plants stolen. Sect stole everything. The Divine Syndicate stole all the plants from the exhibition, including the deadly species. They could have used them in order to murder Montague Dunn. The Divine Syndicate stole all the deadly plants from the exhibition. This doesn't seem likely because they would have had to then come back and planted the deadly plants. So I'm gonna say that it was for now, say that it was probably just a partial theft. Let's see here. Nope, those don't go together. Okay. Let's get back here. And we need to... Oh, I'll go over here real quick. You get to strike the gong. Now we shall go inside.
You came to make a donation? Glory to Tree-One! Praise the grand tree, praise it! Osmosis and
I didn't notice you could examine the...
This must be Tree-One, the Divine Syndicate's god.
I didn't notice that doing that the first time through here. Okay, we'll deal with that in a moment. Drug stable?
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
Let's see what else is on here. Just this. Taste.
It is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
It is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
It is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
It is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
So of course, Holmes likes it. Out of the way, Watson.
osmosis and photosynthesis.
This door is locked, but I can try to open it.
This looks like a good starting point for aligning this here. Nope. Here. Okay, that lines up. Oh. This one's a little more difficult. There we go. That was a bit of a tougher one. Now let's see what's behind the red door.
These instruments are used for smoking opium.
Oh my. Have we stumbled across an opium den, Watson?
A vast amount of opium.
Opium balls.
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments. Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
Praise the grand tree. Praise.
This green grand mystic fellow seems rather suspicious, Holmes. We should search every inch of this place.
Well, what do you think I've been doing, Watson? Is there something a little... Maybe not.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
Taking all the caterpillars now.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
Venus flytrap.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
Venus flytrap.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
Flower cage.
These 3 plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
Secret's completed, so we still need to find what plant was used and who killed Mr. Montague, or Mr. Dunn. Perform analysis on the chemistry flask. Make sure there's nothing else we need here.
This green grand mystic fellow seems rather suspicious, Holmes.
See if there's anything to talk to the Green Grand Mystic about.
Follow my path, and better you will feel.
Try the sap and see how better you will feel, more like it. Now back to Baker Street. Open deduction, see if there's anything else for the moment. Looks like, nope, nothing new. And there's good boy Toby.
My archive. This is where I keep my post. My archive. My archive. I can always consult with it if need.
She's still there in the window. If you did, I didn't point this out earlier, but Watson, the last couple of times we were at Baker Street.
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't aware that you were Watson's new literary agent.
This green grand mystic fellow seems rather suspicious, Holmes. What should we do next, Holmes?
You sit there gyrating like the Grand Mystic, suspicious Grand Mystic did, and I'm going to work at my lab table here.
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. A colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
There was a strong floral aroma from the victim's lungs when we did the autopsy.
Holmes? What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens. Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you. I need to take a pipette and make several drops of the reagent. I need to take a red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
Okay, let's make some deductions. Suspicious ingredients. It appears that the deadly plants, the alkaloid and the caterpillars, are somehow connected. Combine that with the poisoning. Right here. Set up the experiment. Set up the alkaloid from a chemical laboratory and the caterpillars and perform an experiment with the deadly plants. Looking up Wagner's reagent real quick. Ah, that is a real thing. Whoa. Takes us to an article on Myers reagent. Myers reagent is an alkaloid precipitating reagent used for the detection of alkaloids in natural products. Myers reagent is freshly prepared by dissolving a mixture of mercuric chloride and potassium iodide. Most alkaloids are precipitated from a neutral or slightly acidic solution of Myers reagent to give a cream-colored precipitate. But this is Myers reagent. Wagner's reagent, an aqueous solution of iodine and potassium iodide used for microchemical analysis of alkaloids, also known as Wagner's solution. Okay, that's about all I can find there. So let's set up the experiment for the plants.
According to the deadly plants information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need fertilizer and food. Caterpillars should do nicely. According to the deadly plants information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need fertilizer and food. Caterpillars should do nicely.
I have the caterpillars.
According to my analysis table,
I'm unclear what I need here. Set up the alkaloid from a chemical laboratory and the caterpillars and perform the experiment with the deadly plants. I have the plants. I have the caterpillars. I have the stuff from the jar. I have the plants. I have the caterpillars. I'm unclear what I don't have here. Let's go back to I'm missing something. Go back to Kew Gardens and look around for it. Just talk to everybody while I'm here.
Just be
Nothing new.
careful with the plants during your inspection.
Oh, I didn't look through the cabinet here.
There is no fertilizer with alkaloid here. We need to search a different chemical cupboard.
Okay. So maybe here in the nursery or the seed room. No, not that cupboard. Not this cupboard. Another room then. Okay, this is going to be the seed room.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yes, quite exciting here. Murders and plant theft and such happening. Quite an exciting place indeed. Nope. Sure I'm not overlooking something in here. Back to the office. Nope, not in the office. I'm really thinking maybe over here where Junior is.
Farmhouse.
Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Missing an important piece of evidence here. Dry tropics. Oh, where do we get this fertilizer from? Let me get my phone here and look at that thing again. Getting help from trueachievements.com. I think it was something on a cabinet at the Divine Syndicate I was supposed to get. Let's go back to the Divine Syndicate then. Go back to the opium den. This chemical shelf. Yeah, I didn't get something there. That's it.
This substance is an alkaloid, the same as in the bottle we found in the bushes at Kew Gardens. Perfect, Watson. We can begin our experiment.
Now it's back to Baker Street.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkali. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. It appears to have fallen in. My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it.
Actually, no, that's not right. That was the trade to make. Okay, now we will pour some alkaloid on that plant so that it opens up. We will put
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid.
Put a caterpillar on this plant so that that plant grabs it. And that was a lot of poison coming out of it.
Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary. The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
A lot of red herrings here, like the garden supply company doesn't seem to tie into anything. Not sure if the ventilation system does yet or not. Deadly precision. It was a complex process to prepare the deadly plants. The plant combination had to be placed close by the victim and triggered at the precise moment. Albert's ambition. Missing deadly plants. White studies. Let's see if deadly precision goes with the plants. Yes, it does. The Divine Syndicate left plants at Kew Gardens in order to murder Montague Dunn at a later date. Someone stole the deadly plants before the Divine Syndicate were able to. I'm going to go there for now, but I'm not sure. Let's return to Kew Gardens. Find out who killed Montague Dunn. Find out how to stimulate the plants in the Colonial Collection. Before performing the experiment in the Colonial Collection Room, talk to all the suspects about the day of the murder. Caterpillars. We found a bottle containing alkaloid and caterpillars at Kew Gardens. There is no doubt they were used for an experiment. And continue. So let's talk to Hamish first.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly, I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes, he came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
The young man certainly does not seem to know enough about botany to have created the condition for those plants to, or even know which plants would have caused his father's death. But we shall see.
Seed house. Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
Streaming. Okay, back at it here.
And that was the last time you saw him.
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
But you say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Sometime later.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way I want to go. I actually want to go check at that piece of evidence first. I'm going the wrong way. No, this was right. Check out her recording.
Here it is. Cylinder Records.
These plants, classified as Sherlock Holmes, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
Might have learned something if you'd have let us listen to the whole thing. Okay, now let's do our thing over in the water lily room.
Harm.
Here we are, Sherlock's imagination. Skill again, so. Escaping the room.
No,
Oh, I
it
need to
wasn't
go in
like
here
that.
first. Hailing the spores. Okay, so he inhales the spores.
No, it wasn't like that.
Escaping the room. Okay. Why is it not
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Okay, so now we go to the ventilation system. Did all that. Checked all that out. Let's go to the ventilation system now.
First of all, I need to visit the colonial collection room to see how those caterpillars dropped onto the deadly plants.
I guess I might as well go back same way I came through the glass house here.
Water lily greenhouse. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
Not sure why it prompted me to activate my Sherlock eye here. Let's just keep it on though. Maybe it's something about I have no idea. Oh, so I can see the all the way to the maybe so I can see the ductwork here. Power.
The power is on. The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active.
So I have to.
The engine has started.
Transmission is on.
The ventilation system is working.
So I can see where the ooh.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one.
Okay, so can't see the colonial collection room from where Miss White was working.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
We can see the room from where Hamish's desk is.
Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Well, that's interesting. Deadly precision. It was a complex process to prepare the deadly plants. The plant combination had to be placed close by the victim and triggered at the precise moment. Ventilation used. The plant stimulation caused by the caterpillar fall would be performed only could be performed only from Martin's workplace, the one location where it would be possible to see Montague Dunn in the Colonial Collection Room. So we combine those two. Hamish's opportunity. Martin Hamish had the opportunity to stimulate the deadly plants in the Colonial Collection Room. As a biologist, he would have understood the technicality of how to do this. Hamish is guilty. Martin Hamish could be the killer. He had the opportunity to steal the Divine Syndicate's plants and steal them from his workplace, and stimulate them from his workplace directly after he had locked Montague Dunn inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Let's go to Scotland Yard. Let's go to Scotland Yard.
I really want to see my case book. There we go. Okay, so we... So let me see that. I want to see the timeline one more time. Okay, so Miss White said Mr. Dunn came in about 10 after 9. Came in, say good morning. Spent a few minutes outside at the plants of the laboratory. Went to the nursery where Mr. Hamish was working. And she stayed in the laboratory until about 10:40 when she heard Albert and Mr. Hamish in the large glass house. Okay. Now, what does Albert say? So she wasn't in the seed room. She was in the laboratory. Okay, so Albert was in the seed house. Okay, Albert's in the seed house where there's no view of the room where his father was killed, but the fan in that room had to be activated. Let's see here. So Mr. Hamish and his father come in. They left about 9:40 a.m. About 10 minutes later, 9:50, he saw his father go to the dry tropic room. Mr. Hamish returned here to the seed room. Okay. Mr. Hamish came back to the room a couple of times between 9:50 and 10:30 when the death happened. About 10:10 he went over to the laboratory where Miss White was. No, okay. He came in a couple of times between 9:50 and 10:10. He'd come back. Then okay. Now Hamish says of the timeline. Okay, so Hamish says he and the father went in to see Albert about 9:30. It's about right. They left, according to Albert, they left about 9:40, 10 minutes afterwards. He said he made a couple more visits to Albert in the seed house. So he would have been there to have he could have opened the vent. Then went to Miss White in the laboratory. Then went to his own desk where the other fan he'd need to open up was. So he would have opened the fan. He would have seen from his window Mr. Dunn fall ill. And he went to fetch Albert. And that would have been about 10:30. It seems like the timeline adds up for him to have done it. So let's head to Scotland Yard and talk to Lestrade. And let's see if that is, in fact, the correct solution to this. Another possibility here. Albert is not very good at botany. It is doubtful he could have learned how do plants release their spores. Albert had the biological knowledge. It seems he's not very good at it. Flight studies. Okay, so there's the argument that he could have been hurt. This is the first time where there were first case in this game where there's been 4 suspects. The knowledge Miss White acquired at university might not be enough to guarantee correct reaction to the deadly plants. Miss White had the biological knowledge to stimulate the deadly plants. I go that because she does not. She seems to have a solid alibi. So we put all the clues together. We have made a deduction. Let's talk to Lestrade.
I must admit, it would be rather unusual to use a poisonous plant as a murder weapon.
Mr. Holmes?
A very good day to you, my friend. Is Inspector Lestrade in?
The inspector's waiting for you in his office.
So Lestrade's in his office. We shall go talk to Lestrade.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Sometime later.
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Ooh. No need to hurry. That's...
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Well, that doesn't sound good at
What
all.
shall we do next, Holmes?
We should see why there's no need to hurry.
Mr. Holmes?
The large glass house. Watson, get out of the way. Guess I should have gone the way Guess I should have just gone the way I already was. There's still a lot of questions about this, though. Why was the stuff over there burning? Why was all the cleaning supplies used?
What should we do next, Holmes?
Well, I thought this was the large glass house. Yep,
Holmes, my God!
about what I expected to find.
We found him like that.
Messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case. The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Life has become a living hell. I find it unbearable. Dunn deserved to die, but I cannot forgive myself for having his blood upon my hands. We Hamishes seem to have always fallen victim to our circumstance, and I find myself to be no exception. I must atone, and I shall do so here and now. Farewell. Another wrinkle to this. Martin Hamish admitted to murdering Montague in his suicide note. The worn-down double heel of his left shoe reveals that Martin Hamish suffered from a club foot and tibial torsion. Martin Hamish was unable to run due to the tibial torsion of his club foot. Therefore, we should find out if he had sufficient time to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room and activate the ventilation system. Did he have an accomplice? Ooh, got a new wrinkle to this case. Discuss with Lestrade the possible impact of new clues found on the body of Martin Hamish.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
And I have that game,
The
and
map
we'll
at the
play
entrance
it.
of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
Oh, cool. This is a cool little thing. Martin Hamish and Montague Dunn went to meet Albert in the Sea House at around 9:30. was around 20 minutes to 10 when Hamish and Montague Dunn went out to the backyard. After 10 minutes, Dunn recommenced his inspection and entered the dry tropics room. Hamish returned to the seat. I'm not exactly sure how all this works. Take a look at the So I guess they're color-coded by the statement of each person. There's pancake mix in there, Mom. Oh, milk. Yeah. Well, I used it yesterday. And it's dated the 12th, I believe. When you do waffle mix, get instructions exactly on how this little thing is supposed to play out. Okay, so they're color-coded with the line they appear in. Okay. So, Hamish and Dunn went to meet Albert in the Seed House around 9:30 there. Around 20 minutes to 10, so 9:40, Hamish and Dunn went out to the backyard. After 10 minutes, that would be 9:50, Dunn recommenced his inspection and entered the dry tropics room. Hamish returned to the seed house. So Hamish returns to the seed house at 9:50, and about the same time that Montague goes to the dry tropics room. Martin Hamish has a conversation with Miss White at 10 o'clock. She was in the laboratory until 10:40 when she saw Hamish. Okay, so talking with Miss Dunn in the laboratory at 10 o'clock. At 10:45, she saw Hamish and Albert in the water lily greenhouse and joined them there. This would have been after the murder, so that goes there. Hamish ran to Albert as soon as he observed that Montague Dunn was unwell, which was around 10:30. Albert was in the seat house the entire morning. He observed Hamish returning from visiting Miss White at 10 past 10. Okay, now we play the event.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
Martin Hamish might not have had enough time to do it all by himself. It would have been difficult to stimulate the deadly spores and lock the door in just 10 minutes without being observed. Albert was alone at the seat house after Montague Dunn had entered the large greenhouse. Since Dunn showed signs of poisoning at 10:20, Albert had approximately 10 minutes to act without being observed. White's timeline. Miss White stayed alone in the laboratory after speaking with Martin. Since Montague Dunn showed signs of poisoning at 10:20, White said approximately 20 minutes to act without being observed. But she was alibied by the recording, it would seem. Martin Hamish and Albert were not accomplices. It is unlikely that Albert would have had the opportunity, and 10 minutes would not have been enough time to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Albert was Martin Hamish's accomplice. 10 minutes would have been enough time for him to follow Montague Dunn and lock the door in order that Martin might activate the ventilation system. I'm going to go with it. Choose. We have more here. Miss White had 20 minutes. It would have been enough time to trap Montague Dunn. She could have locked the door and alerted Martin Hamish to activate the ventilation system. Martin Hamish and Miss White are not accomplices. It is unlikely that White would have had the opportunity, and 20 minutes would not have been enough time. Well, it was enough time. So that leads us to Albert is an accomplice. So here's the moral choice. Either absolving Albert and killing Dunn in collaboration with Hamish was the only way to end years of torment and humiliation. We can allow the police to believe it was Hamish alone so Albert can go free, but he must live with his conscience. Or Albert Dunn killed his father in collaboration with Hamish, citing years of humiliation and frustration at his father, dictating his life. We can conclude that Albert is a cold-blooded murderer and he deserves life imprisonment. I'm going to go with that choice.
What happened, Inspector?
It's all over now, lad. There is no use denying it. We know that you murdered your father. Patricide by plant poisoning. Very alliterative.
What? You're mad. I didn't do it. I didn't know anything about botany. No.
Okay, let's see if the conclusion was correct. No, Albert is not the accomplishment, so we need to replay the ending. So it was Miss White after all. So we need to change this to White had time. Change this to Albert is not involved. Miss White is a desperate woman in debt, resigned to consorting with wealthy gentlemen. When Dunn cast her aside, she killed him in desperation. Hamish tried to save her. She deserves a second chance. Miss White is a dangerous one, very capable of carrying out an elaborate murder for a monetary gain. She flirted with Dunn's son Albert and later pushed Hamish to his suicide. She deserves the rope. Well, now that's interesting. When you condemn Albert, he gets a life sentence. But Miss White you condemn and she gets the death penalty. Confirm my moral choice, yes.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining, the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over. Perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
Oh, I didn't act quick enough.
This is tragic, Holmes.
Are you able to do anything?
I'm afraid not. The poison has been fulgurating. Her heart stopped instantly, poor child.
So that is the accurate. But I want to play that. Let's go see what the outcome is if you... Okay, we'll go with absolving Miss White.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining. The deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
What did that... Don't know what... But...
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
I am not blaming you, Miss White. You are a young and brilliant woman, trapped in a dull and hostile world. Life has never been easy. Men, in particular.
You... It is hopeless.
Indeed. Well, it may be true that I cannot yet change the world, but I can spare your life.
My life. There is nothing left to save. I have lost everything. Do you hear me? Everything! And you. You were just like all the others. You would abuse and take advantage of a vulnerable woman.
I hardly think so. Now just listen to me.
I've tried so hard, but I have had enough.
Miss White, no!
Step forward.
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Well, I messed that up.
Are you able?
I'm afraid.
I wasn't expecting the Watson part of that. Replay the ending. Try this again.
But Holmes,
It is.
Skip
Now,
past a lot of the
after
dialogue here.
What? No. You do
Well,
not for. So please tell me.
you were wrong.
It was Martin. You think that
You don't.
I am not. You. In.
I.
Miss.
Okay. Stab you.
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Got it that time.
Well done,
Achievement unlocked.
She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
Go back and absolve. See what happens when you absolve Albert of it. Okay. We're going to change this. White is not involved. So, Albert had the time. And we absolve Albert. I'm still reading old Dostoevsky there. I'm sure I butchered that name.
It was Albert who assisted Martin Hamish with the murder of his father, Montague Dunn. An act of desperation to end years of misery and humiliation.
Poor boy. You're right, Holmes. he was also a victim. He'll live the rest of his life with the death of his father on his conscience.
And that is enough. The case is closed, Watson. We can say officially that Martin Hamish acted alone.
Problem is, I'd really like to see the ending where it was the Divine Syndicate that killed him, and I'll have to go back and completely replay this case to do that. And I may do that later, but but we have to go make the final choice now. Albert was not involved. It was Miss White.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that
Miss...
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step
Help
further.
you right to the gallows.
Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
She's gonna die anyway.
It's too late.
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own
That's
life.
the state's job.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
I don't like that choice. I'm gonna go with absolving her. I know it would probably be the right thing to do. But sometimes I just don't feel comfortable with it. Meaning the cost. I mean, she did it. She's guilty. I don't know. But to the gallows with her when it. For locking the door when it was probably more Hamish's idea.
But Holmes... All right.
This will be the final choice.
Mr.
You do not seem...
Well, I was...
Not for too long. So please tell me.
You were wrong.
It was...
You...
You think that you can...
You don't care.
I am not blaming you. You are a young and brilliant woman. Trapped?
You...
Indeed.
My life. There is nothing. And you.
I hardly.
I've tried.
Miss White. I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
I wonder. Oh! I didn't hit the W in time. I was expecting the Watson part. She did not deserve such terrible fate. No, she did not. The Kew Garden Drama. Kew Gardens Drama. So we absolve Miss White.
But how...
It.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well,
Not. If
you don't.
I am not. You are. In.
And you.
I ha.
Okay, make sure we hit the W. On time this time.
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain.
Okay, at least one more time with the W. Hit the W.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
I'm really curious what happens when the Watson part
Stop
comes
this
up if I move
foolishness.
the cursor too
You
far
cannot
over.
truly want to die.
No, it's
I
too
think this is
late.
where we do Watson now. Oh, I didn't. Oh well, I'm just gonna accept it.
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
We're going to accept this decision. Case statistics. Personality ranking, sympathizing. 92% solved the case the same way. Only 23% of people made the same moral choice. Well, I'm sticking with it. Half Moon Walk is the next case. That will be for another day. We will end the stream here now.